As we hit the final stretch run here from WCC Media Day here at Resorts World in Las Vegas, we have joined by the LMU Lions, head coach Stan Johnson, Jan Vide, Roddy Brown Jr., MJ Amy Jr. It's been a long offseason, new faces and new places everywhere. It's the same song, different verse with every single team facing this thing. Coach, how have you kind of seen your team kind of grow? We've talked about when we talked with you last, it's all hypotheticals. You don't know yet. We have to see it. Now that you've kind of had some exhibitions, you've seen your team face some in-game adversity, what have you liked about how the way they've responded and grown?
Yeah, I think we've got a group that really cares about each other. I don't think it's talk. We've had some, one exhibition so far. We've got another one tomorrow. And in that, I thought we played a really, really good USC team, very tough. We put ourselves in a tough spot. I think we shot 10% in the first half. I've never seen that before. But,
get out of the way now.
Yeah, early in the season, in a game like that, it's easy to just break and get down on yourself. And, we put ourselves in a position to win the game. And I think that says a lot about the guys we have in the locker room, the guys that we have here. I've been very impressed with the substance that's in our locker room and the substance that's in our players. And that's got to be something that carries us as we get ready to play some games for real.
So the three players that you have next year are all going to contribute in the backcourt significantly in a myriad of different ways. How have they each kind of owned the opportunity now that camp has fully gotten underway and we're less than 2 weeks now until the season? How they kind of define those roles, both in terms of on the court play and then off the court leadership?
Well, all three of these guys, they really complement each other. MJ is kind of the heart and soul of our team. The passion that he brings, the leadership that he brings it's better than any I've ever been around in 20-something years of coaching, because he lives what he speaks. His actions back his words. Rodney has brought a versatility to our program, a calmness. He's extremely calm, and that's a great attribute to have. He's not too high, he's not too low. His skill level is something that we really need. And then Jan being a more confident, big point guard. You don't really see a lot of guys 6'6", but his ability to play downhill and create for others are things that could make our team really special. So these guys, and on top of that, again, I think they're setting the tone and how we want to practice, how we want to compete, and how we want to respond and how we want to act every day. So I've really admired that and respect what these three guys have done so far.
For Rodney, and I covered you your freshman year at Cal with Right for California. Now, obviously, I have the year at VT and now here. How do you feel like you've changed the most since then, and how have you kind of implemented maybe new things into your game to help deliver the best version of yourself and then eventually the best version of LMU basketball?
For sure. I think the main thing is just I feel like I have a more well-rounded game now. At Cal, I had a much smaller role. I was young. I had a lot of older guys on the team. So that's one thing. And then I would also say my body has changed a lot. I've got a lot stronger, gained a lot of weight. And then also just my approach defensively, especially being under coach. He stays on me about that. So I think those three things, I want to be a two-way player. But I would say those three. And then also like my leadership, especially being with these two guys here, they are guys who lead. So just stepping into that role, probably those things is what, for sure.
Rodney, what was it that made LMU the right spot for you? And then early on, what have you learned from these guys, coach, to really kind of integrate yourself into the team?
For sure. As far as why LMU, I would just say it felt like a family as soon as I got around the guys. Transfer portal window is pretty small. So I was able to build a good relationship with the staff first, quickly. And then once I was able to meet the guys, we gelled, honestly, super quick. And then as far as what I've learned from these guys, especially MJ, I would say just having an everyday approach. He's a guy who a lot of energy. And I think that's something I've added to myself and continue still trying to add. So I think that's it. And then with me being new here, I would just say I'm learning from the both of them just how we want to play. and just who we are as a team. So yeah.
MJ, and Jan, both, that's year 2 for you guys here at LMU. What's been the biggest difference between year 1 and year 2 for not only yourself as leaders, but then also just kind of your games? Because it does feel like, obviously, like the expectations internally obviously are going to be the same, so have high expectations, whatnot. But what do you think has been the difference between last year and this year for you?
Kind of the main focus I'll say so far. It's just for me, I'll say personally, just being more confident in who I am and stating on who I am, as well as, kind of installing to the guys, how we want to play, our principles, and just kind of being that example of what we want to get done. I'll say that's the biggest thing this offseason, that I definitely try to grow in and take in, feel like I gotta own and become. So.
I mean, same thing to me, knowing the coach now for the second year, knowing what this program is all about, the culture behind it, showing to the other guys, the newcomers that got in here. And one thing that's very interesting in our program is that we literally have 13 guys that can be put into the game at any given moment. And that just give us, you can feel the competitiveness that we have in our practice. And this brings a great energy into everyday practice. Like we said, we're competing every day, which is going to show on the games too.
And one of the things that talk about that competitiveness, as I think about back to that exhibition, because that second half, you guys were in the game that entire time. And that was one of the things I think that was impressive to me, is that the fight, the grit to just kind of keep in that one, even though obviously that first half kind of went sideways on you guys. But the other thing that was obviously very noticeable was just the crowd in the building. That was something that obviously that's Gonzaga level, St. Mary's level crowds. Trying to talk about the energy you had in the building for an exhibition, obviously against a crosstown rival, but still having that for game 1, in one that isn't going to technically count, but clearly was enough for everyone to come out and see.
Well, definitely the crowd was high level, amazing. They were our 6 men. They gave us so much energy. The one thing that I love about them the most is that they didn't turn against us. They didn't leave when we were down 20. They kept believing in us, even when we were still fighting for it. And we got to the 4 points, and then we get back to 6, 10, all of that. And it's they're just supporting us through everything. It was an amazing atmosphere.
Jan, for being a good point guard in this league requires consistently good decision making. How do you feel like you've made strides in that department over the course of the offseason, knowing that I can pass here, I can shoot there, I can take command here, I can pass off to MJ or Rodney down there? Have you kind of taken shape in that department? From what players have you taken bits and pieces of their game to help better yourself?
Well, one thing that I really have to improve on is definitely turnovers. A lot of times coaches on me, I leave my 2 feet, I jump to the pass. I really have that mindset that I want to do the right play every time. Sometimes I get caught up in between, should I pass, should I shoot, should I do that? But now there's I'm just so much more confident. No matter even if I make a mistake, okay, it's part of the game. It's gonna happen. Whatever, I go next on to the next play. And yeah, me and coach, we talked about a lot. Just who should I look forward to? Like he said, there's not many 6'6" guards, so I have unique style of the game, and I just want to build onto that during the season.
MJ, you mentioned it earlier that you don't shy away from who you are off the court. I've noticed that in social media clips. I've noticed in your off the court philanthropy. Can you kind of explain why is that important to you? Because some people may just say I'll go about my business and I'll go home, go kick my feet up, play some video games, and go on to the next day. But why is it important to kind of showcase kind of who you are and embrace it as such?
I mean, God made me who I am for a reason, so I just want to be able to just let my light shine, understanding that, basketball is a business, but basketball is basketball. Let basketball be basketball. I'm bigger and have a good personality that could shine outside through, life has shown me that through early adversities. But like I said, I just want to bring other people with me, bring the positivity and just show people, just give them a way just to be just be confident who you are. And don't be afraid to, just let your light shine and just on other people and just let it show, be happy and be blessed, just where you are and where your feet is. So that's what it is.
Is public enemy number 1 that rock climbing wall?
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, the rock climbing wall got the best of me. I'll say that's one thing I couldn't figure out.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Is there anybody else on the team that would like to show that you'd like to showcase that also happened to experience what you did at rock climbing?
Man, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, we was all struggling. I'm not gonna lie, we was all struggling. And there was somebody was really like, I can't remember. Somebody was actually like really getting there, but we all kind of was all over the place, falling all over the place, chalk all on our back and from the mat and stuff. So yeah, that's an experience right there.
One more question about energy and kind of how you bring it off the court. How does that kind of transfer to the rest of your teammates, and how have you kind of seen that take shape now? Eventually, when you do step on the court, people bring in more joy in how they play and kind of more confidence. They make an and one, they do like a roar or something. Have you kind of seen that take shape?
Energy is contagious. And understanding that energy is my strength. I just want to install that with these guys. Understanding that we do have some cool laid back guys on the team, but which could be cool, which would be good. And at times though, you could show your inner dog, show your inner roar, So just I just want to do that with my energy, just allow guys to kind of create their own, So that's what it is.
For coach, and we obviously three of your leaders right here next to you. Who are some of the guys that we haven't necessarily given enough credit to yet that are going to showcase themselves over the course of this year, and we're going to get to know them?
Yeah, obviously, guys that are back. Rick Azanza, who plays the 5 for us, he's back, been in the program for a while. I think Rick's made some tremendous strides this offseason. He's been healthy. Jalen Shelley was a big transfer from us from USC. He's a 6'8" wing that has tremendous potential. We're really excited about him. We've got some freshmen that I think people will like. And both those kids are really growing. And Josh Dalton and AJ Thomas. We had a freshman last year who got mono, who would have played for us some minutes last year in Jael Martin. He's a 6'10", 3-4. Probably vertically is our best athlete, really long, can block shots. I think people are going to like him. Those 3 kids, obviously they're freshmen and they're going to have their ups and downs, but I really like what they bring to the team. And then, our big kid that we got from Central Florida, Rokas, who, is a very, very good passer for his size on the perimeter. One of our better passing players. We've got 2 transfers, and Tanner Thomas, who was an all-league guy, and Kyle Shelton, also on the roster. And I'm leaving some guys out, but to Jan's point, we feel like we've really improved the floor of our team, and we have a lot of guys that are competing. Everybody's competing for a role. Nothing is set in stone, and that's been really fun to coach because we're not coaching any egos. Everybody understands the expectation. Everybody understands what they're up against, and that's been a real strength of our team so far.
Good problems to have.
Yeah, right now, again, we haven't played, but I like that. Our things are really competitive, and nobody feels like they need to be given something. They know that everything's earned, and when you have that approach, then you get better. When you have the approach of I should be given something, this entitlement approach, it hurts you and it hurts the team.
All right. Few questions to get you on out of here. All right. First one is going to be who's in control of the music in the locker room?
It should be me.
I thought that actually might be me.
Most of the time, our guy Nakal is on the aux most of the time in the locker room. So yeah, it'll be him.
Does coach have a point that he should be nominated to be up there? You can be on.
They're lying.
Look, he has his opinions, and their opinions. So.
All right, and then also like who is there a nominee at this point for like maybe like the class clown of the team, or like who's?
I'm sitting right here with him. It's definitely this guy right here, and I think everybody would agree with that. So.
You agree with that? Oh yeah, I was about to say that too.
It seems you're gonna make it unanimous.
Just go to his Instagram. The guy's doing dancing inspiration videos in the locker room every morning.
All right.
I saw the TikToks earlier. We were right here. Hey, MJ, it's not did we see, it's how could we miss it, you know? So we saw that. So MJ, Amy, Rodney Brown, Jan Vide, Coach Stan Johnson, LMU Lions, we thank you so much for copping on, and we wish you best of luck, best of health. And
Thank you, guys.
We look forward to
Appreciate it.
covering you guys.